Well, happy Saturday, folks. It's the real Captain Kirk here. It's the 9th of December here, 2023 here in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. We are actually picked by the Hallmark Channel as one of their 6 Christmas cities. Again, we are Christmas City, USA. In fact, this is our main street. This is, again, the live cam from the Hallmark Channel, and this is our historic Hotel Bethlehem, rated the #1 historic hotel in America. And then we have Star of Bethlehem is up here on the hill there at nighttime. And then horse carriage rides down here. There's dozens of shops and restaurants. Again, if you're looking for a day trip, we are it for you here this Christmas season. Live from our building here on top of Weather Trends 360s, you can see where that camera's hiding down there, looking south toward Main Street. So again, check out our weather cameras. Again, panoramic weather views on top of 360. Don't want to alarm anybody here, but it's moving in at warp speed, 15 days, 11 hours, and a few minutes here till Christmas. So it's coming in quick. Looking at season date snowfall here, week ending, actually season to date ending here the 9th. Down, as expected, down 34% versus last year, 40% below average, 8th least in 38 years. One thing you do notice is that while it looks like a lot in the west, just extremely high elevations, that's actually quite a bit below normal, like compared to last year in the west. New England's the bright spot. Again, New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine. Ski resorts there are loving life. Again, they're off to a very fast start in New England and southeast Canada. Looking at current snow cover here, you can kind of see that change. So map left was a very, very heavy snowpack in the Western U.S., Sierras, Rocky Mountains. You look at this year, it's pretty light, maybe extreme elevations, but nowhere near as much as last year. And again, that more snowpack in the Northeast, New England, and parts of Eastern Canada. So again, only about 16% of us have snow cover here this morning, least in 3 years, 18% below average, third least in 20 years. This will change as we go toward the late December, January, February, March timeframe. The good news with the warmer fall we've had here, as expected, flu trends are down 45% versus last year. That red line versus last year's epic early start, fastest start in 13 years last year with a big peak around Thanksgiving, not this year. More of a domey season. We think it'll probably peak somewhere in late December, January, maybe even early February, but it's a very domey type season, slower, nowhere near a peak like last year, and then just gradually diminish. Map right shows you just how widespread the flu was last year. Pretty much everybody in those dark reds and purples were widespread flu. This year, again, a few spots in the south, but again, not too bad compared to what we went through last year this time. So healthier people means more shopping and better store traffic. If we look at the last week, World Summer here, ending here tonight, the 9th of December. Here in the U.S., it was after a cold end of November and early start to December. It's been a warmer week. 1.9 warmer than a year ago, warmest in 8, fourth warmest in 38 years, so much above average national temperatures. If there's a good spot, it was just probably New England. 15% drier than last year, driest in 3 years, and 11th driest in 38. Snowfall down about 14%, least in 8 years, 8th least in 38 years. Not too hard to find the polar vortex. Now, again, this big map is trends versus last year. Maps inset left are trends versus average, but not too hard to find that polar vortex in Europe, coldest in 21 years. Russia, coldest in 21 years. So again, that's where it's camped out, and it's going to be on the move here. So we'll talk about that here in a second. Look at this week here, again, mid-December here. Again, only a couple weeks left of Christmas shopping here, but another very warm week. 2.9 warmer than last year, 5th warmest in 38 years. So much above average temperatures, almost above average, almost wall-to-wall, east coast, west coast. There's a cooler spot compared to a year ago as that map inset left would be across the Gulf Coast. Snowfall, way down, 94% less than last year, least in 17 years, second least in 38 years, so not much snow out there. 23% drier, still 10th wettest in 38 years. So these are not favorable trends for seasonal sales, but okay trends for store traffic and gift sales. We'll run through the 6-day snowfall here quickly because not a lot out there. It's about 78% less than a year ago, least in 12 years. But here today, some in the northern plains, North Dakota, kind of fizzles against the Great Lakes. Big rainstorm here tomorrow here in the east, 1, 2, 3, 4 inches of rain. But in New England, that'll be upwards of 4 to 8 inch plus snowfall amounts, again, New York, Vermont. So again, back end of this, a little bit of snow here Monday morning, and then kind of fizzles out as we get into midweek. So again, aggregate these trends over the next 6 days. Again, so it looks like New England is probably one of the bigger winners here as this storm exits the East Coast. Next week, hard to believe we're saying this before Christmas, week before Christmas, ending the 23rd. Unfortunately, a very warm week compared to last year. Last year, this week, obviously, as we all recall, was the coldest in 22 years, snowiest in 13 years. It was just off the scale cold. In fact, some areas like New York had the second coldest Christmas in 150 years. So extremely cold drove very strong seasonal sales last year, not this year. 16 degrees warmer can be just monumental double-digit declines in seasonal sales categories. So not a good week pattern here for those seasonal items. But again, good for store traffic to an extent. Snowfall down, non-existent, 97% less than last year, number one least in 38 years. So again, wholesale change there. Precip a bit wetter, wettest in 3 years, still 18th driest, so just a hair below average. Again, still kind of stormy along the Gulf Coast, East Coast. So again, not a favorable week if you're looking for seasonal sales. But there is good news here. Again, we look at the polar vortex when it's strong and symmetrical. You keep all that cold air bottled up, and it's been bottled up over Siberia. But you see some breaking apart here toward the end of this 14-day animation here, where a big chunk of it looks like it heads toward Asia, China, and then maybe in about 3-4 weeks, that'll be heading toward North America. So we do think the late December, January, February, early March timeframe, this polar vortex is going to make some intrusions into the U.S. with, again, much stormier pattern along the East Coast for sure. So again, signs of hope here. If you like cold weather, are probably going to be right after Christmas into January for the U.S. We'll just aggregate these 2-week trends here. This is, again, 10th through the 23rd. Again, wall-to-wall warm in North America. That cold, though, you see moving. You see it moving out of Siberia and a chunk of it heading toward China. So then as that heads toward China, then eventually it head toward Alaska, probably around Christmas, and then head toward the lower 48 as we get into late December, early January. We just aggregate these snowfall trends here for the 2-week period. Again, see very, very heavy snow still there in eastern Canada, parts of New England. So that's heavy snowpack. That's just putting a very cold air mass there. And again, that'll be a source for what we believe is going to be a very active nor'easter pattern up the East Coast this year. So if we have those cold snowpack up there, certainly an area for the nor'easters to tap that into and bring some snow further south into the Northeast, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, maybe even D.C. So with that, folks, we hope you have a great week ahead here, and we will talk to you in the weeks ahead here. Probably going to be on vacation here, but we will have a blog out here time next week. Have a great week.